stakes are incredibly high, Max Kellerman, for Patrick Mahomes, more so than any normal quarterback. Because if he ever wants to be the GOAT, the MJ of football, he can't do it unless he wins this game. Do you agree with him?
No, I don't. And in fact, this is the exact topic that we actually debated on this show earlier in the week. I mean, look, leading up to the Super Bowl, people are going to have a lot of the same kind of takes leading up.
I want to hear it again.
We literally debated this topic, and I will tell you why not. It will be very difficult, yes. Because if Brady beats him, no matter what Mahomes does, people are going to say it's unlikely he gets to 10 Super Bowls and wins 7. Mm-hmm. And people are going to say when Brady was 112 years old, he beat Mahomes in his prime, and he's got more Super Bowl wins. Tough, right? But not impossible. For example, let me give you an unlikely scenario, but not a crazy one. What if they met again in the Super Bowl next year and Mahomes won? Like, what about that? What if there was a rematch? Brady still looked really good this year. He wants to play till he's 45. The Bucs are loaded, and we expect the Chiefs to get out of the AFC every year.
My mind can't go there yet.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, there's a scenario where, here's another thing. Let's talk about the pace that they're on. Patrick Mahomes has been in the league for 3 seasons as a starter. 3. He's 25 years old. He has been to 3 AFC championship games. This will be 2 Super Bowls, and he's won a Super Bowl, even if he loses to Brady.
Yeah.
He's also won an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP. He's 25. He's also putting up numbers that we've never seen before to start a career. Yeah. Kind of in any sport. He's putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Like, oh my God, he's doing, what's his completion percentage? What's his QBR? How many touchdowns? How many interceptions? How many wins? Do you realize in Patrick Mahomes' last 26 starts, they're 25-1 against the NFL? It's insane. They don't even have a, do the Chiefs have a great defense? No. So given the pace Mahomes is on, even if he wins half the number of, if he wins, let's say 4 Super Bowls by the end of his career and loses to Brady, but beats him in a rematch, let's say, and we look at his career and say, yes, Brady is the GOAT in terms of career value, the way Kareem or maybe LeBron is by this point, right? But who do we actually call the GOAT in the NBA? Most people, Jordan, because his peak was long enough that, like, his career was long enough at his peak that he qualifies, and the peak was just the highest. So we may one day look, even if he loses this Super Bowl, and say, man, he got to and won enough Super Bowls, especially if he ever gets Brady in a rematch where he loses this one. He got him back, and we all saw it with our own eyes. No one was ever as good as Mahomes. That would be, I admit, it's a big mountain to climb, but he could do it.
No, he can't. If he loses the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, he will never, ever. Tom Brady is 43 years of age. And I'm going to use this analogy to you, and it's a bad one, I'll admit it, but I think I'm using a boxing analogy just to get Max to where I'm going. Do you remember when Costa Zoo fought Zab Judah?
Sure do.
You remember when Zab was talking, and he fought Costa Zoo, and Costa Zoo caught him. You know, Zab was trying to dip, got caught with the right hand, went down, Molly, and got up like this, and his legs were shaking and went and fell back down. I still think the referee shouldn't have stopped the fight. He should have let it go.
Agreed.
You understand? But nevertheless,
but Stephen A., that fight was over.
I understand that. Yeah. I understand that, but he still let him.
I agree with you.
Because he let him go because he still had.
He got up. He wanted to fight.
He got up. He wanted to fight. So let him fight. Here's the point. Why do I bring that up in an analogy like this? Because everybody said rematch. Costa Zoo said no. You said winner take all. Winner gets everything. Because he thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
He said now. In other words, to punish him, he said, I ain't giving you another shot.
Yeah, do that in the NFL.
Live with this, right? What if Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl?
Could retire.
And says, I'm done.
That's going to be tough.
I'm done. You know what? I beat Patrick Mahomes.
On a high note.
I beat the modern day GOAT, you're right, according to y'all, at age 43 in my first year with a new team. It's a wrap. I thought I would come back. Giselle, baby, all the kids, we did what we came to do. You understand? It's a wrap. Can't end any better. Not only do I go out a champion, I knocked off Patrick Mahomes
in his
prime, the offensive juggernaut that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Not just Patrick Mahomes' prime, Travis Kelce's prime, Tyreek Hill's prime. I took them out.
And he'd have 7 rings.
And I said, yeah, we
even if
know that.
Brady
and MJ has 6 rings.
That's a given.
Even if Brady didn't play well,
But what I'm
people
saying,
wouldn't remember.
but what I'm saying is, if he sat up there and won the game, and then said, "I'm done."
Yeah.
Now see where he could tarnish it. If Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, even if he beats Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes still looks like Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady comes back next year looking like Peyton Manning did in his last year, that could ruin it. But if Tom Brady won, played well doing so, and then said, "I'm done. There's no more for me to do," I don't think Patrick Mahomes could overcome that, because no matter what, even if you won 7, which I don't believe will happen, even if you won 7, you still lost to him not once but twice in the postseason. Your only postseason losses of your career. One was in the AFC Championship game. Another was in the Super Bowl because he went to the conference. It was when he was 43 years of age. It's his 7th ring, and he beat you, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce in his prime. Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. You can't eclipse that.
Well,
I'll say
this.
Can't do it.
If Tony Romo had said, which is what you're saying it is possible that if Brady beats Mahomes, he can fix it so that Mahomes will never have a chance. I agree with your argument. It would be so unlikely. What could Mahomes do? Win 10 Super Bowls in a row, right? Like, he'd have to do something like that to really get back in it. So I would agree. There is something Brady could do after the game, which would ice it forever, which is to retire. That is true. I can't argue against that.
Yeah.
But Brady said he wants to play till he's 45 years old.
We'll see.
And given the way he's playing now on the team he's on,
right,
with the weapons and the defense he has,
I would remind y'all that I don't mean to put business out there in terms of the industry, but if Peyton Manning wanted to be in the booth, I don't care what network you point to, you talking about a minimum. If Tony Romo getting 17, you talking about Peyton Manning getting a minimum of 20. Peyton Manning has how many rings?
2.
Yeah.
So the 7-time champion that looks like a damn model with those Tom Ford suits, that's married to a supermodel, that ends his career at age 43, if he were to do that, who's getting $25 million a year now to play football for the next 2 years, has a chance to retire to make $20 million a year at least in the booth without getting touched? That could do it for the next decade?
I don't think he would do it. I think Tom Brady's got his mind on this. I think Tom Brady wants to make $1 billion with TB12.
Guess what? Send me the supplements. Don't tell me they don't work now, Max. I don't care what you think they
actually,
I want all the TB12 supplements. I'll never eat a shade vegetable again.
TB12 tweeted at me and offered me a training session with Guerrero.
I want it. Send me the training session and the supplements.
Hold on, y'all. Let me ask you a question. How is retiring from football but being in the booth hurts TB12, particularly if he goes out a champion?
I would say this about that.
It didn't hurt the Jordan brand.
No, well, except that Jordan never went to the booth. Kobe never went to the booth. There are some guys, Jeter didn't go to the booth.
They're almost
Those guys,
too big to go.
Right, A-Rod went, and you could see Peyton there, but the dudes who are the pristine champion brands, like you think that all you think is champion, they're looking at owning the team. Jeter owns the team.
Yeah.
Jordan owns the team. I always believe, that Kobe was going to own the Lakers.
Yeah, but there's nothing,
I don't see Brady in the booth.
Prohibiting him from eventually helping to own a team. Just because you go in the booth, you could always listen. John Gruden was in the booth. He won 1 Super Bowl title. He missed the playoffs 4 of his 6 years in Tampa. Disappeared from coaching football for 10 years. Went to the booth and came back and got a $100 million deal with incentives that drive the contract up to $118 million. Do you have any idea how much money Tom Brady can make? I'm talking about aside from TB12. So let's take TB12 into consideration. You have any idea? And then you got the supermodel wife that's sitting there going like this, honey, we followed your way for quite some time. We have obliged.
Is this the love doctor talking now?
We have obliged. Remember, he was interviewed.
It's a lot of
and he started talking about how, remember when he revealed that, guess what? Being a dad, my wife said I wasn't doing my part.
Yeah. What you're saying is there is some upside for Brady to keep playing if he wins the Super Bowl. but there's also downside. Whereas there's no downside if he retires if he wins the Super Bowl.
Zero.
That's
also a good argument. He
said he's going to play till he's 45, and I believe him.
I forgot about that. I'm just focused on getting those supplements and that training, whatever I need to do to stay young. All right, we'll leave it there.
Battle that's never been won. But one opponent ignores the odds and continues to be Father Time's toughest test.
Let's go!
To be at this age,
Brady has come back with a vengeance.
physically, are you still able to execute your job?
Perfect throw from Brady.
I'm very fortunate to still be able to do that.
In an article ranking Tom Brady's toughest roads to the Super Bowl, there's been so many. ESPN NFL writer Bill Barnwell ranked this year's path as Brady's toughest in his NFL career. Barnwell has his 2004 championship run second, and 2003 comes in third. You've all heard this. Has played in 10 Super Bowls. It's absolutely unbelievable with this upcoming one. Max, is this the most impressive Super Bowl season for Tom Brady?
2020-21 is the most impressive Super Bowl season for Tom Brady. By far, it's not close. I thought this was a trick question. First of all, he's 43 years old. 43 years old. You know I made the Cliff prediction? Because at the time he was 40, and there'd only been one quarterback who was worth anything after the age of 40, basically, like an age 41 season. That was Warren Moon, who was a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback at the age of 41. You know what Warren Moon did? When he was 43, he threw like 3 passes that season. He was finished at 43. No one has ever been, not Testaverde, not Doug Flutie, not Warren Moon, has been worth a damn.
What did I tell you, Max? There's always a first. There's a first for everything.
That's absolutely right. And until I see it, I don't believe. I got to see it. I've seen it now. So that's the first thing.
You see it now.
He's in uncharted territory. Like Satchel Paige was great in his late 40s in the major leagues, or he was very effective. Julio Franco could hit a baseball when he was 45, 46. Bernard Hopkins could compete on a world-class level when he's 49, 50 in boxing. Tom Brady at 43 doing this is unprecedented in football. That's one. 2, guys, he just got to a brand new team. I don't care how loaded it is. It was COVID. You couldn't practice with the team. Facilities were shut down throughout the league. You couldn't even get to know your teammates the same way. He's a brand new coach. And Arians is a good, respected coach. He left Bill Belichick, the only head coach he'd ever known in 20 years in the NFL, for a brand new head coach. He had to play all his games on the road in the playoffs. Washington's no great shakes, but they have a real defense. And then he had to face Drew Brees, whose team, Brees and the Saints, in his own division, beat him twice that year. Drew Brees with everything to play for. Retirement looming, a great team around him. Fourth quarter, tie game. What's going to happen? Brady's what happened. And then he had to go on the road to face Aaron Rodgers, the league MVP, with an excellent team around him. And once again, late in the game, the opponent didn't come through, but Brady did. Tom Brady, this is easily his most impressive career accomplishment in a career full of the most impressive accomplishments. This is number 1.
Max Kellerman, before I move on, addressing that drivel you just spewed, unfortunately, to the American public, I ask one question and one question only. Has Super Bowl 55 taken place yet where a winner of that game has been determined?
No.
So that would mean prior to the Super Bowl, just going on the regular season alone, or if you want to go through the conference playoffs, Molly, all the way up to the Super Bowl, are we just going to ignore what transpired in 2007? 16-0. 50 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 117, the number 1 offense in points, the number 1 offense in yards, the number 1 passing attack. Randy Moss was his wide receiver. Wes Welker was a 1,000-yard receiver. Lawrence Maroney was their running back. They averaged 300 yards a game in the air. Tom Brady threw 50 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions. They went undefeated through the regular season, went undefeated through the playoffs before they lost to the Giants, where they slept on their pass rush. The New England Patriots were 18-0. And we're going to sit up here and say that the Tampa Bay team that we walked around.
Looks like Stephen A. dealing with some technical difficulties. But
That's
Max,
called
let me just say this.
censorship.
I want to say something quickly.
Molly,
Hold on, Max. I want to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's
Cosmic
censorship. But I just want to
talk about drivel.
wait. I want to
The
say
TV gods weren't
this
trying to
to
hear
you,
that.
Max. My goodness, about what Stephen A. just said. I get what he's saying about that 2007 run, but they didn't win it. So that's where I'd lean more towards your argument. But at the end of the day, I think if Tom Brady doesn't win it, if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, then maybe Stephen A's right. But if Tom Brady ends up winning this Super Bowl, there's no doubt it's the most impressive run.
These are two different questions we're answering. I'm answering the question. Stephen A's talking about the greatest Tom Brady's ever been. Yes, 07 was the best he ever played with the best team around him. But up until the Super Bowl, if you want to count everything up until then, that is true. But that is less impressive when you're in the middle of your prime, when the league is changing constantly to favor the passer because Peyton Manning, like the year before, had a very similar offensive profile, right? Like threw a bunch of
Stephen A's back, by the way, Max.
Of touchdowns and very few interceptions. And the point is that is Stephen A. was the best Tom Brady and the best team around him. But when you are,
now you know good and damn well I wasn't finished, and you still talk.
God,
you know good and damn well I wasn't finished after you gave your long soliloquy. You couldn't even shut up enough to let Molly get to sit up there and ask you an additional question. That's how lost you are. Here's the reality of the situation.
Brother, I didn't know
I heard you, Molly. I heard you, Molly. Well, we listen to you. Just be quiet. Yeah. Here's the deal, Molly. The reality of the situation is you're totally wrong because you didn't hear what was the first words out of my mouth, Molly. The first words out of my mouth was, did a Super Bowl 55 take place yet where a winner was determined? The answer was no. So we're talking about now. Of course, if they win the Super Bowl, it's a different discussion. But as of right now, when you compare the season Tom Brady had compared to what transpired, what transpired in 2007, 50 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions with Randy Moss catching 1,400 yards. We're talking about the most impressive. They went undefeated. They were unblemished. They were considered to be unstoppable, so much so, Max, that Tom Brady was caught on camera. The humble, Mr. Humility himself was caught on camera laughing at reporters who intimated that the Giants' defense was going to hold them to limited points. He's like, really? Okay. He was laughing at that, caught on camera laughing. That's how much of a juggernaut Tom Brady and his offense was. So when we talk about the word impressive, what we're talking about, is a level of elitism that we had not witnessed. We had several question marks about Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. There were no questions about the New England Patriots until they ran into the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Time out. Max, you're going to respond after the break because we need to carry this into another block. And Stephen A., as far as the 50 touchdowns, Tom Brady had 47 this year. That's the most he's had since that 50 in 2007 when he was 30 years old.
Interceptions?
And he did it without
How many interceptions?
Bill.
Are you including?
I don't have the interceptions in front of me.
The playoffs,
don't kill my point. All right. Hold on. It's just 47. That's what
I'm killing that point.
Guys. 47. It's the most that he's had. He's had 12 picks. It's the most he's had since that 2007 season.